Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Nature Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Lisa Fernandez, and
I'm Christopher Wardna. Hello.
we're about to review Window on Main Street, written by Al Eichmann and directed by Tom Trevich. I'm pretty sure Chris has got some kind of facts about the two of them coming up at some point.
Yes, I do. I got a little bit of those.
Yay! And here's what the episode's about. Post-marriage, Shirley is still living with Laverne, specifically in a one-room capsule set up in the Barwell's department store display window. Given a choice between their jobs or appearing in the home of the future, the girls agreed to live in the display in spite of Laverne's sudden claustrophobia. To cope with the situation, they meet with a hypnotist at Rhonda's suggestion. They're supposed to make the company look good and avoid mischief, but that becomes impossible when Dr. Hal Dawson plants a post-hypnotic suggestion in their noggins that causes them to behave like chickens whenever a bell rings. New romance for Laverne, a floating health question for Shirley, Carmine in full super mode, and some severe humiliation linger in the cards. Will they escape with their eggs in one basket? What'd you think of this one?
It felt like a good season 6 episode, but it was a little weird seeing it in season 8.
Yeah. This one works. It is a very perfectly okay Laverne and Shirley episode.
Yeah, perfectly okay.
Perfectly okay. Perfectly prominent.
Yeah. I think I will say, I just want to quickly add to that. I was considering like what the number is going to be for this one, and because the last one was pretty easy, I figured that out pretty early. This one, I have a feeling it's going to be more by the end of actually going through this podcast right now to figure it out, that I'll be able to ascertain. But yeah, it's a very cromulent episode.
Yeah, it's a perfectly good one to me. It's not the best thing in the season, but it's all right. It's a nice farewell to the girls' dynamic, so to speak, even though they didn't know that was a farewell at the time. I love that the capsule they live in was designed for the year 2000.
Yes.
And people live in shittier apartments than that now.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2023.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm willing to bet an apartment of that size in Portland goes for $1,650 a month. That by the way, is not really an exaggeration.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. Certain cities, that's just how much it goes for. It's just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. I love how Shirley's desperately flaunting her married status and nobody cares, which is a microcosm of the way that everybody felt about it.
Yep.
In the audience, so oops. Can I send a gift? No. Good.
Yes, Mr. Hildebrand is fantastic out the gate. I actually have my first note for this episode is Mr. Hildebrand, and then telling him to do the macho Manderville Mambo. Future me, can you put up a Manderville Mambo for the audience?
To me, he's more of an a-hole in this one than he was in this previous episode.
Yeah, he's definitely more of a dick. I guess maybe he's just had more time to
marinate.
Yeah.
Or they just needed him to be dickish, pretty much.
Right.
I would not be shocked. Laverne suddenly has adaptive claustrophobia out of the blue.
Right, which doesn't make sense given some of the cars that she's been seen in and some of the other spaces we've seen her in other episodes of the show. It's very convenient.
Yeah, it's like her fear of being alone.
Yeah.
It's like her fear of sudden monophobia that goes away and comes back out of the blue.
Yep.
It's a convenient moment for the show, and makes no sense if you look at a lot of the rest of the series. We meet Mike Bailey in this episode, Larry Breeding's character. He's obviously not the adulterer from previous episode.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, he returns as a new character, as we had mentioned last season. Yeah, my note is, no, your eyes don't deceive you. It is that cat from season 7, but now he's a new character. And he's actually kind of likable this time.
Yes. Yeah, you can tell, as we've said in previous podcasts, they were about to set up a romance between him and Laverne that was supposed to go somewhere. But go somewhere it will not, tragically. We will see him one more time. He will appear in the episode Fashion Show, and he was going to be in Of Mice and Men. But he is not in that episode, tragically.
I do love, I was doing a little research on him, and he had a plethora. He was an active, busy guy before this time, and it really is a tragic story. But I have to say that it was it's one of those, if fate has something bad, live life as if fate has something terrible in store for you, because he stayed very active. He even worked on the one season wonder, The Last Resort, with Gary Mintier and Marty Nadler, other Laverne and Shirley alums.
Yes. He also worked in Who's Minding the Kids, which was Gary's 40 millionth step at trying to get a sitcom together about showgirls in Las Vegas. Tried the formula 3 different times. The version that Larry Breeding was in featured Jim Belushi. And also, I do believe that it featured Linda Goodfriend and Scott Baio.
That is correct.
So, yes. It did not last long either. None of the attempts he made last long for that subject.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly just double check, because I think it has a couple of the, as Linda Goodfriend. I'm trying to see if it has any of the other gals from Lansky's. I do not see that being the case.
Yeah, I was going to say they were the only ones who got picked up and moved into that one. The lights and the fame, I want it all. I want it all.
Oh, God. Oh, God, the flashbacks. Oh, God, no.
Feathers, Nancy, no. Anyway.
Yeah.
It looks like they have no bathroom in that capsule, doesn't it?
So the idea is that they basically go into a crawl space, and they end up they have to do this little weird crawl, which I'm just thinking about when you really, really have to go, it snuck up on you in the middle of the night, kind of having to go.
Yeah.
That is cruel and unusual.
Definitely. There's plenty of reasons to pity them, and that's one of them in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so the girls agree to this, perhaps unwisely because they're being forced to. So they're being forced to, so there's really not a choice happening on their part. And this basically has a Rhonda hello gag, doesn't it? The first time.
Let me just double check. I don't think it has a hello line.
Feels like it. It's this one.
I'm trying to figure out. Actually, I don't know if the boys are in this one. I don't have any notes on the boys. We have a hi-ho from Rhonda.
Yes.
Also, to quickly chime in my mother notes, my mother, when watching this episode, when I was having to watch this back, commented she felt it was really mean, the whole, Shirley, minimizing Laverne's phobia by saying, you were upside down. Anybody would be bound to get a little irritable.
Oh, annoying. Stop doing that. Show. This is bad as the monophobia shit, so this is all bad all around. Why doesn't she ever say ho ho and bring us presents?
Well, it's because she only says hi ho. She doesn't have the other hoes in there.
Yeah. She needs more hoes, basically.
Yes.
Those hoes ain't loyal. I love Rhonda as Cher.
My note is Rhonda.
Monomania, salute to Sonny and Cher. That's great.
Which I thought was pretty delightful, especially for a 68 set thing. And the whole idea of this small community theater that can only see 4 people, 6 if a couple of the band members don't show up.
Beautiful. It's perfect. I like Rhonda as a struggling actress. I like it when they remember she's a struggling actress and they use that.
Just getting these they're cool gigs, but they're shitty gigs. Because it's it's cool to be in a musical review of A Salute to Sonny and Cher, but you're playing in, you can't even call it a dive. It's a closet. And I have had friends who have worked those kind of gigs where it's oh God, actually, I remember filming this band whose drummer my dad and I knew as a sound guy, and he was this drummer in this band called this is the Seditionists, I think. I can't remember, but they're they played a set at the Lovecraft Bar in Portland. Anyone who's familiar with the Lovecraft Bar, that place was fucking small. And so basically, the reason I had to keep filming the drummer, who was my buddy, was because I couldn't move. I couldn't leave my spot.
Yeah. Sometimes you get packed in. Some places like that are dangerous too, man.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure. Well, as far as I know, that was one reason it closed, is because it wasn't up to code. Anyway.
Yeah. You gotta be very aware. Be very aware and stuff like that. Yeah.
So we get to this. So the Rhonda being here is interesting. Her whole thing of bringing in the whole hypnotist and this sort of I wonder how many MLMs and gurus and new age things that Rhonda would fall into later in life.
Gosh, she had so many swamis.
Oh yeah.
So many swamis.
Oh yes, I see in your future a good audition. Mm-hmm.
You must align your chakras to properly get this part. Align them!
Align them in this special yoga pose. Yes, hold that. Don't mind the camera. Mhm.
Oh God. Oh, ew.
I'm sorry. But you know that what would happen in those
Yeah.
days. It's horrible.
True. Sadly, casting couch stuff would happen. Definitely.
Mm.
Like,
Now I'm just thinking of that short film called Casting Couch. I showed you that one,
oh,
right? The horror
I
movie
think
Casting Couch one?
yeah.
Okay.
I've
I
heard
did
of
send
it,
that to
yeah.
you. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Scale 1 to 10. How mean is that line your roots grew in from Laverne to Rhonda?
Pretty darn vicious. Like, geez. Like, we all know she's not a real blonde.
Yeah.
That's mean. Oh gosh. Rhonda and Laverne do have something in common with married men. Let's note that. Like,
Yes, that's true. And now I don't feel bad. And I went to a hypnotist, and now I don't feel bad. I don't feel guilty about it anymore. Yeah,
I love
but the
Rhonda.
whole life
I love
awaits
Rhonda.
you, living in the store window. You can make out in the backseat of a Volkswagen, to which my note is, isn't that an uncomfortable place?
Yeah, and a tight place and a small place. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
because
Um,
that's the famous Mallrats bit.
yeah. Which probably no could have been a reference to this, considering.
Yeah, Kevin Smith would
Yeah.
probably would have done that.
Yeah.
What, like the back of a
Yeah.
Volkswagen? So
Yeah.
okay. My next note after this is we're chewing through this episode pretty fast because I will say, at the very least, one positive about this episode is the pacing's pretty smooth. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel as choppy as the last one. This like
Yeah, and the directing's pretty inventive. We get some interesting angles in this.
yeah, and at the very least, like the blocking and staging's pretty strong, especially with the part that's coming up with Carmine and the doorbell. I mentioned Carmine and the doorbell, by the way, because my first note is Carmine is packing heat.
Oh!
Holy crap!
Oh! This is the point where they try to sex symbolize Eddie even more.
Yeah,
Because it's Penny's legs and his abs and various parts of his body at this point.
yes.
In the show.
Let's just say those jeans are very tight for those of you that like Eddie Mecca. His hair, excuse me, his hair does kind of suck though. I wasn't super keen on the hairstyle.
Peanut butter and sauerkraut on raisin bread.
No.
Yeah.
No.
First of all, I'm surprised Laverne is disgusted by that. She's eating more disgusting things, A. And B, look, Shirley's pregnant. The flashing arrow.
Yep.
The doorbell has been broken for the past few seasons. Gets repaired here.
Yeah. And finally it's getting fixed. And that's I did think the way of like integrating that into the bell ring for this moment I thought was pretty good. This is like one of those gags that's why this is I think can be quite a good episode, is because it has these little like setup and payoffs. And what I find with good physical comedy like this is very like what you see with like Blake Edwards, you see sometimes with the Marx Brothers, you would see with like old screwball comedy like Wilder and Hawks and things like that, is you really are setting up the punchline or the twist in like the first like 5 seconds of the joke. And then you're like, okay, it's enough to make the audience remember it's there. And then we bring it back a couple times and then we come, etc. But then it all sort of threads together through that scene rather than feel like it just comes out of left field, basically.
Yeah, it does. The whole chicken thing, it feels like out of the blue, period.
Yeah.
As does the attempt at red arrowing towards Shirley's pregnancy. And a lot of the whole episode reads like that, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, look, unsubtle nudge, unsubtle.
Yeah.
This is a very unsubtle episode of the show.
Oh yeah, no. This episode is incredibly unsubtle in so many different ways. I mean, they put Dr. Gentry right out in front. Come on.
Oh yeah.
As Dr. Dawson. My note on the hypnotist. Oh dear, I got a bad feeling about this. But I do like I love his new look.
Yeah, me too. That's a great look. You gotta admit that's a great look.
It is.
Come on. The goatee and everything. That's great. Come on.
Yep. But yeah, that's again for those who have watched our previous podcast. That is Charles Thomas Murphy as Dr. Hal Dawson, Hal Dawson, who was Dr. Gentry in season 5.
Yes.
So
we love him. We love him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He didn't do a ton of stuff after this, so I could just quickly mention that his credits like range this long gamut through the 70s of like the Waltons, Bob Newhart, Enos. He actually is the auctioneer during the Roman Empire in History of the World Part 1.
Huh.
As I mentioned before, by the way, I think we mentioned this before. He also was a character actor role in the mid-'80s film Water by Dick Clement that is an absolutely insane-sounding British comedy. The reason I mention it is because it featured Dick Shawn. That's why it's getting quickly mentioned.
Ah, ding, 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 ding. Good old Dick Shawn. Man.
But anyway, speaking of bells, this trope of hypnosis, we've seen this a bajillion times. One of the things that actually reminds me of is those old cartoons where there was the laborer that whenever he heard the bell, he'd get up and start boxing and punching things. And what's your take on the hypnosis trope?
I have mixed feelings about it. Sometimes it can be funny if it's played right. A lot of the time, it's kind of a little touchy because, we're removing agency here. So it's like, I'm not sure if this is groovy or comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm of mixed thoughts about it.
I just am tired of it as a concept. It's like I was able to go back to this because it's like, okay, it's 1982, fine.
Yeah.
But this whole relax, scratching the ear, this is, where it feels like the laugh track is added rather than it being natural for me. Yeah, I mean, my note turns into, after I made sure to quote his itching stumps. You're totally in my power. When you hear the first sound of a bell, you will recall all of my suggestions. At the second sound of a bell, you will forget everything that has happened here. And my next note is, it's one of those episodes. Chicken.
Yep, ding, 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 oh dear. And then it just plays so easily with all the tropes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just all the same tropes over and over and over again. It is unfortunate in a lot of ways in that way.
Especially because, the scene ends, Carmine talks to him about the whole thing, the bell, they set up that, okay, he says she's a chicken. That's what leaves the, we establish how the suggestion goes into their minds. And then, there's the good punchline about him going to Bonomania, which I thought was really cute.
I love that.
But then the next scene, it's almost like this whole hypnosis thing is unnecessary because them running into hijinks in this apartment of the future, I thought was fine. I mean, the trash compactor of the future, closed in a cube.
Yeah.
And the space food. I mean, at least we knew by this point, I felt it was a bit of anachronistic, bit of physical comedy that was a bit boring. But when they call for a chicken and the chicken gets launched at them through the thing. That was great.
That's funny. Okay, no, what really, really made me laugh about this whole routine, what really, really made me laugh was the two of them going into chicken mode and kind of like mourning over the dead chicken.
Yes, I love that.
That was funny.
Yes. I also felt it was cute that Penny is clearly trying to do more of the physical stuff to blocking the scene to distract from Cindy's pregnancy when she's at the table.
Yep. And also that was a requirement because they didn't want her to do too much physical stuff while she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah. And I will say as there's the viewing audience that, comes back to see them and, watching them like a floor show, the gestures between Larry and Penny are adorable through both all the scenes of the two of them. You can definitely see they had chemistry that they could feed off of each other. That is really, really precious in this episode, at least in particular.
Yeah, it's sweet. Their chemistry is generally good. Their chemistry is pretty generally good. I like the character Mike just fine. He's not a bad boyfriend for Laverne, and eventually, as we will see. So I appreciate him. I like the window kissing and all that stuff.
Yeah. You're just looking for smudges, and she found them right there. Let's just get that taken care of. Put some Windex on it, and thing in it.
My note on this is Laverne is trying to get some dick off of Marcel Marceau. Yes, I made a mime joke. I don't even care.
What I just love is you made a mime fucking joke. That's even better.
Yeah. Just imagine mimes trying to fuck without making any noise. Anyway.
I could see the physical components of them combining being the tricky part, actually.
Yeah. Oh, someone makes a hoop with their arms, the other one puts a fist through it, and there you go. Then they make clown faces. Anyway, my note, by the way, on our on Dawson was Jonathan Frakes. It does look a little like Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah.
I love that Carmine thinks that Walter's a lucky man because of those terrible sandwiches.
That was cute. That was very cute.
Yes.
It was at the very least, it was cute, but I remember when you and I were talking about this, while we watched it, I didn't like it. When I came back to it a second time, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fine. I'm just having to learn to stop worrying and love the bomb. So, you know, but it also is another weird nudge of like, Carmine is single again. Because we've, it's like, oh yeah, Susie, whatever. Yeah, we're still.
Susie kind of vaguely exists. She's almost a concept, just like Walter. That's it. The easy answer to all this would have just been having Susie and Walter run off together.
Oh my God, that would have been great.
Perfect.
It would have been horrifying, but at the same time, it also would have been like, oh, okay.
Even better, have Cindy and Eddie play the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they love each other so much because they resemble so much better. And the two of them get outraged and they get back together after that. It's easy enough. That's easy enough to do.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Suddenly Laverne's afraid of doctors, which makes no sense.
Yeah, then I just, okay, whatever.
How many phobias does she suddenly have out of the blue? Anyway? My note on the dress compactor scene was, it's okay, Laverne, most of these clothes were ugly anyway.
Yeah, they're pretty, I mean, you can tell those are the scraps from the art department.
Yeah.
They gave it to the prop department put them together into a little bundle.
And they squished them. And then about the food pellets is, jelly beans for breakfast? Mom, I love you! The blatant MST2 characters for me.
The thing I'm thinking of is oh God, I can't remember. Oh, what was it? IT Crowd. It was one of these shows, those British sitcoms. What are you having? Smarties cereal? Oh, they do Smarties. Smarties does a cereal brand. No, I just put Smarties in some milk and then have a spoon.
God, I know people who would do that. So I know people who are that dedicated to chocolate.
Yeah. By the way, Smarties. Just as a reminder, in the United States, Smarties are a tablet candy. In England, they are not.
Yes. In England, they are like M&Ms. In the United States, they are like fruit tarts, like sweet tarts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lipstick eating was pretty funny. Little lipstick pecking.
It was a little on the nose, but you know, in terms like it was the setup to the punchline was a little too telegraphed for me. But the mirror was the part that got me.
That was good. That was a good little moment.
And at that
there
point,
was a lot.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
go ahead. There was a lot of funny moments. I was gonna say, go ahead.
By bell 3, the audience has that extra again. And that extra is back on that escalator. That's Mallrats reference number 2 for everybody. But yeah, it's that guy. Or hey, it's that dog. Future Me, if you could put up a picture of that extra again. Thank you. Yep. And then this is about when we get to bell number 4 and the confusion. I feel a little unusual. Moves on over to see if the lunch is ready, and then it's bell 5 where as you mentioned, the burning food, the burnt chicken, the morning, the burnt chicken, and then Laverne, as she goes and sits on the lamp like an egg.
Yeah. God, this episode is so weird.
It's weird. Was that just me, or was that a little suggestive the way she sat on that thing?
Yeah, and I think that was intentional.
God damn it.
Oh, it was intentional. Just imagining bouncing on the egg.
I'm just thinking to myself, you know, I wish John Waters had directed this episode.
Oh my God. Now I'm imagining that he would have a field day.
Because the thing is, this season, 2 episodes in, and we're going to get even more of this in episode 4, it's campy in a way that isn't always great. And it's the type of, it needs to push itself into a level of camp that I feel is that H.G. Lewis / John Waters / kind of abstract David Lynch, you know, because camp done well gives us amazing wildness. That's what gives us American Hippie in Israel. That's what gives us the Acid Eaters. Look up the trailer to that. That's what gives us the trailer for Werewolves on Wheels. And this needs that level of like, especially with the sci-fi elements of this, like the creature wasn't nice. The creature was nice as a total camp fest.
I love that.
And we love it. Yeah, I mean, you and I both loved it. I need to get the director's cut.
Yes, you do.
And it's the kind of thing where, like, this is okay. Like, we're not saying this is bad, but there is, like, I'm feeling like some of these other episodes we've done over the last couple of seasons, the not going far enough for whatever reason, and I have a suspicion there are multitudes of reasons why not. It's more noticeable and pronounced.
Yeah, we just pile the cheese right on top. Just cheese a go.
Or as I like to call it, when my dad puts cheese whiz on his cheese crackers. Yes, that is something he does.
Oh, he's a cheesehead.
He is a cheesehead. Cheese on cheese violence.
Hey, there you go. That's the way to put it. Oh man, that's extra cheesy. So they get fired.
Yep. Well, I mean, to be fair, they did peck at his shoes because he dropped the chicken on the floor.
Yep. That was supposed to lead to something, by the way. The girls are supposed to get a new job together. That is partially recycled into the Ajax situation. That was an attempt at modernizing the show and at trying to change things up a little bit.
Yay.
Yeah, so we'll see more of that coming up.
I do love the delivery though that that the Hildebrand actor that Norman Barthold gives of just who do you think you're clucking at? It's really good. It's so good.
That was terrific.
And dramatic Cheryl about, what jobs of this, of that. And then cue Larry. You make a good chicken.
Yeah. I wish it were Walter that was dead. That's my note in the next scene.
Oh, my note here is, Jesus, that turned into a disaster.
Oh, yep. So we're setting up something that we were only going to quasi get. And now Shirley's pregnant, which we can all see. We have eyes.
Yeah, exactly. And I hate that Laverne does that to Shirley. She leaves her as the chicken. That is selfish, even with a best friend. That is rough. Yeah. Leave her, put her in the backyard, and we can have some alone time together. It's like, she's literally married to a guy who has his own place. You just say, can you go spend some time with your husband for a while? I need to take care of something.
Yeah, that's actually gross. That's something gross and mean on Laverne's part, which is really unusual. It's like, geez.
Yeah,
Lord.
God, that starts happening a lot, though, I'm noticing.
Yeah, true. Very true. It's unfortunate. It sucks. It just sucks.
And then we get to them trying to find their new jobs, and then the last position held joke, filthy. And then Mrs. Meany on the phone, and then who died? They better call a doctor. And
I wish it were Walter. Laverne's a father, yay.
So, that's actually where the end of my notes are, actually. So,
my notes, too.
Okay.
It's a very quick-paced episode. So this episode is very physical comedy heavy, so you don't get a lot of notes out of it. You get a lot of character rumination of, the note coming up is definitely going to be a longer form because we get a lot of emotion here.
It's a lot of emotions, and there's a lot of, my mom and I were discussing, how that could have been done better as well. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
I really like that one, I think, more than you, so that'll be different.
I mean, it's one of those, it's good, but it's not great, and it just needed, some little fragments to kind of punch it up a bit, and that's kind of but that's the thing is, I mean, I'm willing to bet these were, scripts getting rewritten, days, if not hours before rehearsal.
Yeah, exactly. I know things were being rewritten on the fly, both to get rid of Shirley and then eventually to get rid of Larry Breen's character, so...
Yeah. It's strange how my note about Eidechman being here is yet again a legend returns, and it's like past me. What were you thinking? Now that I've gone through this episode, he's got one more left to go for the final year. He is the 10th of 11 episodes he did for the show, or credited for the show. He would also be credited as an executive story consultant for the entirety of season 8. He was one of the people I think that was brought back in to stem the bleeding. And that's the thing is, I suspect we're going to see more familiar faces in the writing credits that were folks coming back as attempts at being hemostatic medicine, and I'm suspecting with the tragic passing of Larry Breeding, the Shirley Cindy situation. Penny was probably just asking for favors. I'm willing to bet a lot of folks came back as a favor because some of these folks were already moving on to other shows, and and so Al Eidechman was already staying pretty active. He was working on a bunch of different stuff and ended up being a supervisor producer on the new Leave It to Beaver in the late 80s, and he stayed active through the 1980s overall as writing and producing. So he was busy, but this was a little opening that I think he just he felt like it was the time to take, I suspect. But but that's me conjecturing.
Yeah.
At this point, when it comes to actually, before I move on to the other folks, let me talk about the Eidechman thing about this. Is for an Eidechman, the guy who gave us Who's Papa, the dating game, and Upstairs, Downstairs, this one's a little weak. Yeah, it is. This is,
I guess we're at ranking time, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. I got actor director notes. You want to get the ranks out, though?
Go for it. No, go for it.
So at this point, it's easy to let you know that Tom Turbovich didn't direct 6 episodes of the 22 for season 8. So that's all I'm going to say at this point. Trivia note for him for today is he also directed, Tom also directed 3 episodes of Guys Next Door, which was a pseudo sketch musical series that was developed by Deborah McKay, whose credits include that she apparently went on to become a stunt performer in the aughts. That's a very strange piece of like I said, mindless bits of trivia. That's your one for today. This is the reason why I wanted to bring this up. This is the final appearance of Norman Barthold as Mr. Hildebrand.
Oh, yep, it does. It is indeed the end of his reign, because of course Laverne's changing professions here.
Yep. As mentioned, he was a longtime character actor and bit player, with his first IMDb credit coming from 1952. She's working her way through college. But he got to play a lot of parts, from Captain Willoughby in The Sky's the Limit for the Magical World of Disney to an Ohio toll booth operator in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He even was one of them honky-ass cops in a blaxploitation flick called Darktown Strutters. It's easier to recognize him from things like Barney Miller and Mr. Belvedere, but he was in a plethora of shows and movies. And he passed away at the age of 65 in 1994, but he had a career in television and film that lasted from 1952 to 1990, and it was a decent run for a talent that gave us so many characters. So rest in peace, Mr. Barthold.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Thank you for making the California seasons more fun.
Absolutely. I also have some other crew trivia that I wanted to point out, because alongside Howard Pearl as the music composer is Dan Folliard. We did point him out in season 6 for Bardwell Caper and in season 7 for That's Entertainment. He did work on pretty much the entirety of season 8 of the show, but trivia-wise, this guy ended up actually staying incredibly busy, including scoring 115, that's not the entire run, surprisingly, episodes of Brothers, and also did most of the legwork on not just the old school Roseanne, but even season 10 of Roseanne, and 220 episodes of Seventh Heaven.
Braver than a Marine with all that Seventh Heaven. Man.
Despite having some unique miscellany in this episode to give it the sci-fi of the future 1960s interior, art department was the same guy as usual, Monty Elliott, who was the art director on every episode of Laverne and Shirley. He was joined by Anthony D. Nealis as the set decorator on both Laverne and Shirley and 216 of the 255 Happy Days episodes, according to IMDb's credits. Because that's one thing I wanted to point out, and I think we'll start to get into this a bit more, I think, in the next episode, just because of the way that episode opens. But every episode so far of season 8 has tried to have one new location that has never been seen before. And that has been interesting.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's one reason why folks were starting to come back to the show, is it never looked like it was just the same thing. Every episode had a new location they could sneak clips into in the promos.
Yep. Which would have definitely piqued interest from fans. I will say the note, though, takes place entirely on smaller sets.
Yep.
That's a change up. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how this season is handled even from a set point, because you'll see even more set changes as we go along into deeper in the season. So yeah, you're correct about that, because they had to hook new eyeballs. They knew what they were up against, and they had to hook new eyeballs. And just think about it this way: people still watch the show. They only lost a small segment of the audience to the A-Team. That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty impressive. Oh yeah. So anyway, okay, so now we're finally at the ranking time. I'm so sorry I cut you off. I just want to make sure I did not forget.
Yeah, that's all good. This is a solid 6 for me, and it's good. It's just typical Laverne and Shirley. Lots of physical comedy, some decent jokes, some great stuff for Rhonda. It's a solid 6 for me.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say the same. It's almost a 6.5, but there's just those little weaknesses that kind of like irritate me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this is a 6 out of 10 is pretty common for the California years, I find. So that's not a bad number.
Yeah. Things are going to get worse, I sense, before they get better, so to speak. So we'll see how you feel about that deeper into all season. We'll see how it works for you.
Yeah. Next one's going to be interesting, because I feel of multiple minds for that one. But
yeah.
Anywho, okay. So is there? Yeah, is there? We will see. But moving on that way, is there anything else? No ways. Any quotes you want to mention?
Nah, I got all my notes out.
Okay. Yeah, God, the space food was just such an anachronistic bit of physical comedy for me.
No, just pecking at the jelly beans. Pecking the jelly beans harder.
All right. So we will have a quick word from our sponsors, and then we will be back with some kind of wrap up of where you can find more information, and as well as finding out, what's that note on the wall say? All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, so much for joining us for Night After Night. And if you'd like to know more, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Tumblr, WordPress, or Patreon at Night After Night Pod. Or you can find us on Twitter at NightAfNightPC, where we try to do like community watch-alongs, post the GIFs, and get other miscellany and stuff like that. We do also have kind of a very, very small Discord server. By the time this episode goes out, I suspect it'll be a little larger than it used to be. But anyway, we hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day, or rest of your night, or rest of your morning, or maybe rest of your sleep if you've dozed off listening to us gab and gab and gab. But anyway, it feels like there's something missing. Lisa, what's coming next?
Oh my. Shirley Feeney exits the show, leaving behind nothing but a note and her devastated best friend. Will Laverne be able to cope with this change to her life? This is the note.
Well,
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Well, at the very least, it has a different director, so I'll have new trivia.
Yes, you will. In with the old, out with the new. And in with the disaster.
Well, until next time, folks, we'll see you later. And remember, when you hypnotize your friends, the saints cry.
Remember this as well. If you're going to be a chicken, don't eat jelly beans. They'll kill you.